If you've ever wondered how a three-way switch works, or if you're now curious what a three-way switch is, stay tuned because when I'm done, you're going to know everything you ever wanted to know about three-way switches and probably some things you didn't. The very first thing you need to know before getting into three-way switches, there are a number of ways to wire them, and I'm going to showcase the more prominent ones, but before we get into that, we should identify all the components needed in order for a three-way light system to operate. There are three main locations or boxes to be aware of before getting into a three-way switch situation. That would be both switches and the light or lights that they control. Then at each location, you will have a combined formula of wires present in order to make the system work. What is required at each switch is as follows. At one switch, you will have to have a constant power source, and at the other, you have to have the line that feeds switched power to the light or lights. At both switch boxes, you will have a pair of traveler wires that create two distinct but direct paths between the two switches. You will have a means of connecting the power supply ground to all of those boxes regardless of wiring method chosen to make the system work. Often overlooked but vitally necessary, you need a path that gets the supply line neutral from the source point all the way up to the lights being fed by our three-way switch system. The modern way that this is accomplished is by utilizing two specific types of wire, but check with your local authority holding jurisdiction before you begin. Where I come from, all lighting loads were done with 14.2 and 14.3 Romex, which means that the power coming from the house is fed with 14.2 wire, meaning there are two voltage carrying conductors or wires, and the light at the end is also fed with 14.2. However, to have all the wires necessary to carry power from the front of the system all the way to the back of the system, we run 14.3, which has three voltage carrying conducting wires as well as a ground wire. This is by far the simplest example of how a three-way switch can be wired, and there are others, but before we get to that, let's discuss how these wires are tied to each other as well as the switches to give you a better understanding of what's going on here. On each of your three-way switches, you will notice there are 4 screw terminals on each of them, and if there aren't, you have the wrong type of switch. At this point, most manufacturers have color-coded our switches for us to better identify what each screw terminal's purpose is. The two most common versions of this mean that there is either one single black or gold colored screw on each switch and is referred to as a common. This is where we will attach our line power on one of the switches and where we will attach the switch power on the other switch. There would typically be 2 silver screws that are on opposite sides of the switch, and this is where our 2 traveler wires are going to go, giving us a continual path between the 2 switches at any given time, but more about that later. Lastly, modern switches all have a green screw which is designed to ground the yoke or central structure of our switch. Here is an example of what we would be working with in the previous explanation. Here you can clearly see not only the wires that run between the 2 switches and light, but the different colored screws to help you see what's actually transpiring here. Again, we have 14.2 feeding our first switch, and we have 14.2 feeding from our second switch up to our light fixture, and finally we have our 14.3 passing between the 2 switches. In case you're not aware, wire does not care what color it is. However, as a trade, we have adopted the following structure when speaking of terms of what we use wires for and what is referred to in the electrical code. Since it has created a constant throughout the trade, with few exceptions, this is what you should see in a typical install. Black, red, and blue are used to signify 120 volt carrying conductors, while white or gray is used to indicate neutral or return conductor, and lastly, bare copper or green colored wires are always used for grounding. A typical path of power necessary to create light can follow one of 2 paths in the setup. Power comes in on the black wire on the switch on the left, travels from the black common screw across to whichever traveler lines up with its switch's current configuration, traveling across the connected traveler to the other switch in line, across its internal contact to the other black screw feeding voltage up to the light. So long as the connections are tight and the light bulb is in proper working condition, power continues through the bulb, down the neutral line, back to switch number 2, across the neutral wire in the traveler line to the first switch where it is wire netted to the white neutral wire being supplied by the house, completing the circuit and providing light for the room. The second version of a three-way setup we will look up is what I have always heard referred to as a dead-end three-way, meaning that the only wire inside the second switch box comes directly from the first switch box, which contains wiring for the house power as well as switch power, and in this example there are a number of different ways to configure it, but what matters most is that by using our traveler line, which in the specific example utilizes a 4th current carrying conductor, meaning to use this method the right way, you should be using 14.4 wire so that you have red, black, and blue to carry your voltage, leaving your white conductor in the last box for later potential use. If you recall what I mentioned earlier, electricity isn't concerned with what color wire you're using, meaning that in the trade, we often use the white wire running between the 2 boxes as a current carrier. NEC code requires that we must mark this white wire at every junction, typically with black, red, or blue tape or marker, so that anyone following after initial install can tell that this is a current carrying conductor. Following the path of electricity in this example is not much different from our previous example. Power enters the light box, traveling down to switch number 1, getting wire nutted and passed through the traveler line, out to switch number 2, where it lands on the black screw, feeding power across to the traveler screw, following one of the travelers back to switch number 1, where it passes through to the black screw, feeding power up to the light, passing through the light bulb, across the neutral, back to house, power neutral. The third most common version of a three-way switch is what I've heard often referred to as a California three-way, but I've always viewed it in the same breath as old school lighting taps referred to as grandpa taps, meaning that's the way grandpa used to do it. In this example, all wires either originate or terminate in the light box itself, leaving the switches at both ends as dead ends. Power still follows the same rules. Power enters the light box, headed to switch number 2, across the traveler, back to light 1, up to the switch power line and the line, returning to the house neutral. All three of these examples give us the ability to add a light switch at opposite ends of a room, staircase, or hallway so that regardless of which direction you enter or leave, you can change the state of the light from on to off or from off to on, regardless of what position the switch at the other end is in. If you finally learned from this lesson just how three-way switches work, do me a solid, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment below about your frustration with three-way switches. If you want to know how to take this information and start adding more switches into the equation, let me know below and I'd be glad to explain it all to you. But for now, that's it.